Memories often slip away as time goes by, but photography etches these precious possessions into time forever. It gives us the ability to hold on to the treasured fragments of life. George Eastman's legendary history of tireless trials, hard work, love for the general public, and leadership in the photo industry propelled both amateur and professional photography into the 20th and 21st century.
George Eastman, an American innovator, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, founded the Eastman Kodak Company and was responsible for placing cameras into the hands of the masses. With his innovations, photography was able to emerge from an arduous and complicated process to an inexpensive hobby enjoyed by many.
As an entrepreneur, Eastman revolutionized the practice of business. His visionary management for the Eastman Kodak Company set a precedent that organizations would only adopt in the future. This was a major stepping stone in his worldwide success, and also the first step to becoming a leader in both business and photography.
As a successful businessman, Eastman was generous in areas dear to his heart. He gave away huge sums of money to the arts, higher education, and medical advancements.
George Eastman was born to George Washington Eastman and Maria Kilbourne on July 12, 1854 in Waterville, New York. His family later moved to Rochester, where his father established the Eastman Commercial College.
About 4 years later, Eastman's father died and the college failed, leaving them in poverty. With this in mind, Eastman quit school at age 14 to support his family. He self-studied accounting at home, and after several years of low-paying jobs at an insurance company, his hard work earned him a job at the Rochester Savings Bank, tripling his salary.
While packing for a Santo Domingo vacation at the age of 24, he was so bothered by his cumbersome photographic equipment that he canceled his trip to dedicate time to simplifying cameras. Upon reading about other countries' advanced photographic technology in European magazines, he decided to experiment on his own. To further enhance his knowledge, Eastman paid $5 for lessons from George Selden, a local photographer.
Every night after work, Eastman experimented and tested various dry plates in his mother's kitchen. After a 3-year process of failures and successes, Eastman acquired a patent for a dry plate coating machine.
With his newly patented invention, George Eastman established the Eastman Dry Plate and Film Company, where he further patented and manufactured negative paper that fit into a roll canister, what we know today as film. This eventually led to the introduction of the Kodak camera in 1888. The camera quickly grew popular among the public, even though it cost an average person their entire monthly salary of $25.
His brilliant advertising slogan was,
"You press the button, we do the rest."
The slogan caught on quickly, and many advertising agencies rushed to promote his company as the success of the product grew.
George Eastman's first Kodak camera was a wooden box with a simple lens and shutter that was filled with film. Once the film was used, users would mail the camera kit back to the Kodak factory, where the film was removed from the camera, developed into pictures, reloaded with film, and returned, for a fee, of course.
In 1900, the Brownie introduced the concept of a snapshot. It was a handheld camera selling for $1 with a 6-exposure film that could be loaded even in the daytime.
In the first year, the Brownie sold over 250,000 cameras. Kodak claimed in its advertisements that the Brownie was so simple they can easily be operated by any schoolboy or girl.
George Eastman's success with the roll film led the way for the motion picture camera in 1889. Longtime rivals, Thomas Edison and Eastman, were able to successfully collaborate and went on to found the popular brand Kodacolor together in 1928.
Even while having disagreements with his rival Edison, Eastman was humble enough to listen to and accept the ideas of others, exhibiting his firm grasp on leadership. Leadership is being bold enough to have a vision, yet humble enough to seek help from others. Using this philosophy, Eastman established an effective relationship with his business partners and employees, who were crucial in fulfilling his vision.
George Eastman's revolutionary command of business and strong sense of effective leadership created many lucrative companies in his lifetime. He was able to divert from the business practices of his era and establish an entirely new system of employee management. At the time, the U.S. Department of Labor estimated that 1/4 of the workers were either injured or killed in the unsafe and unsanitary conditions. Wages were low, hours long, and fears of unemployment high. Job benefits such as sick leave and medical care were simply non-existent prior to Eastman's arrival.
By the turn of the century, George Eastman's company had hired over 3,000 employees. Eastman believed in treating his employees in a fair and respectful manner, and that employees should have more than just good wages. He pioneered progressive business practices such as sickness benefits, employee life insurance, and profit-sharing plans, policies that no other company had implemented before.
His first profit sharing occurred in 1899, where he distributed a large amount of his own funds to each employee. Eastman was very much ahead of his time in terms of management. He balanced his leadership with productivity and humanity towards his employees. This was due to his belief that the success of any company is dependent upon the devotion and goodwill of its workers.
Eastman established a social philosophy that would be widely accepted in the future. One such policy was a wage dividend, in which employees' wages corresponded to the yearly company stock. These policies innovated the way many major businesses were later managed. Mrs. Kathy Connor, curator of the George Eastman House in Rochester, says,
Well, then there's two things. One thing would be his employee benefits that were way above and beyond what anyone else at the time was offering. Health insurance, disability insurance, a profit-sharing plan, the ability to have doctors and food service at his own company so that he kept people healthy while they were working for him and took care of their families when they no longer could work.
His wealth led to generous gifts which were focused in education, the arts, and medicine. He secretly donated between $75 and $100 million, or $2 billion in today's dollars.
Eastman established new campuses for MIT and the University of Rochester, and was the largest contributor to the education of African Americans during the 1920s. In addition, music, according to Eastman, was such a necessity of life that he established the prestigious Eastman Rochester Philharmonic. He also founded the Eastman School of Music and created the Eastman Theater, where he popularized a new art form by marrying his two loves of music and film, despite popular belief that movies were scandalous art forms. Every week, in the 3,500-seat auditorium, an orchestra was assembled to accompany the screening of silent films.
His vast donations to hospitals, pioneering work in dental clinics in Rochester and Europe, and the establishment of a medical school also in Rochester, mirrored his great concern for the health of the general population.
The introduction of digital photography became the essential downfall of the company in 1992, leaving Kodak's analog film obsolete.
However, critically acclaimed movie directors banded together in order to save Kodak from extinction. They urged Hollywood to step in and buy Kodak's film for movie production because they felt analog film had richer colors and unique textures as opposed to the more artificial digital film.
As a manager, George Eastman was able to direct the camera industry to where it currently is. He left an immense footprint on society with his business models that are still being used by companies today. Eastman's technical inventions, such as the dry plate coating machine, simplified photography, which led in the development of the motion picture camera. His revolution in the early stages of the film industry led his company to be the widespread business it is today.
George Eastman's generous philanthropic acts left a legacy in the modern world of medicine, education, and the arts. His management practices gave all workers today a better quality of life. Soon after Eastman's time, corporations realized the benefits of keeping employees satisfied and happy in order for their business to grow and to be profitable.
George Eastman never married nor had children, but lived a rich and fulfilling life. Despite his seemingly fortunate life, he battled several illnesses. On March 14, 1932, George Eastman entertained some friends at his home with a dinner party. Afterwards, he requested for them to step out of the room and shot himself through the heart. Various health diseases, such as severe diabetes and a spinal disease, caused Kodak's founder to end his life. Before he died, Eastman left a note stating,
To my friends, my work is done. Why wait?
George Eastman changed the course of history with his numerous inventions, revolutionary management practices, and generosity towards the arts and education. His life work reflected his love for the common people and in turn changed photography as we know it today. The things you do for yourself are gone when you are gone, but the things you do for others remain as your legacy.